My name is Kaylee Anderson, and this is my group submission for exam number 2. The topic I chose was abortion. There's two sides to abortion argument. So there's pro-life, which argues that babies have the right to live, there shouldn't be any abortions. And then there's pro-choice that argues that it's a woman's choice to choose, and that's just how it should be. There shouldn't have to be any issue with abortion. Videos came from YouTube, and they were published by CNN News, Fox News, and NBC News. So the first thing I did was look at all the videos, and then I broke them up between who argued what. So Obama and Hillary Clinton, both had a video that had to do with pro-choice, so that they viewed their opinions on that. And then there were two other videos about Mike Pence and Franz Kibrua, just another speaker, who argued about pro-life, so why there shouldn't be any abortions. So then I looked at the presentation rubric and I broke down each part of their speeches and graded them on how well they did on each part and how this affected the way that their message came across and whether or not their argument was credible. So I first broke down Obama's, who was pro-choice. He had a very serious tone and he sounded interested in the topic, so that kind of showed a little bit of importance in what he was talking about, so his audience was easily able to follow along and understand. He used good syntax. It's professional but easy to follow, so they could understand. The only bad thing was his stuttering, the syntax, which the way he puts his words together was a little rough. So he had a part in the speech that was specifically like really big on stuttering, and it was hard to understand, and it almost seemed like he couldn't think of his argument or couldn't think of the words to say, so it was kind of hard to find. Next was Hillary Clinton, who's also pro-choice. Her tone of voice was really monotone, so it was really hard to listen to because of that. And then there was little gestures and little engagement. So there's no gestures, it was just her face, and you couldn't tell exactly what her points were just because the gestures weren't there to emphasize them. Little engagement, showed no emotion on her face, which is really hard, again, to follow along with, because if you have more emotion, it's a lot easier to relate to. She had good syntax and semantics for the most part. Her words were fine, the way she put them together was fine, and that made a decent argument. The argument itself was good, just the emphasis of it wasn't so much. Next was Franz Kibrua. He was talking about being pro-life. What stuck out most to me was his voice and loudness and the way he changed the pitch of his voice. So he was really concerned and stern-voiced in his speech, and different parts of the speech showed different pitches. So that kind of showed like his importance on one little part or not important on another part, or like what parts he wanted the audience to listen to the most. He used gestures, which really helped emphasize what he was talking about, what he was trying to portray to the audience. The organization of the speech was really good. He started with the background of the laws that he was comparing to, and then he worked his way up to today's comparison. The comparison he made was between slavery and abortion, so it was very intense. That's very something that people think about, people have strong opinions about, so it was very easy for the audience to relate to and think about. Next was Mike Pence. He started with and continued with a still really, really, really soft voice. He came off as very caring, very easy to listen to and follow along with. He was understandable, and he had professional syntax and semantics. The word choice was really helpful for him. It made him seem like he was really into the thing. He was into his argument. He was thinking about stuff, and he was trying to get his audience to look. He used words like dignity and worth and value for life. And so that really helped, I think, for his pro-life argument to be heard and understood by his audience. One of the course concepts was listening. I looked at the empathetic listening, which looked through more Pence's speech than anybody's because his voice was so soft. He used those words that helped him get more people to realize how he was thinking and how they could feel as well. Then there was critical listening, which involved Cabral and Clinton. Cabral, you think about the facts that he's saying, the laws he's thinking, and how that relates to each other, which is critical thinking. And then Clinton as well. She had facts with Roe v. Wade, and that was part of like a is this right? Is this making sense? Is this a good comparison? The next one is nonverbal language. A lot of them had facial expressions, and that helped them a lot, whereas for example, Hillary Clinton barely had face expressions, so it was hard to move along with. Gestures, Obama, Kerbo, and Pence had a lot of gestures with their hands, which helped emphasize their messages, and Clinton didn't, which made it hard to understand. Vocal cues, Kerbo's pitch change was very, very, very perfect because it showed different parts of his speech that were more important. Pence's tone of voice was really soft, which made it easy to understand, and Clinton's lack of facial expression showed that it was hard to go along with. The last one is interpersonal communication. Each of these people are trying to influence others and explain what they're thinking, and that's sharing their information, their opinions on their stance, attempting to influence people to think how they are thinking. And then they have those different parties, different views, like the complementary and symmetrical relationships that go either against pro-life, pro-choice, and they're all battling between them.